shoulders. I see no future. Landed the trail. But how can I die if I never live?
My name is Matt Thornton. I'm a detective of the police department in the Chicagoland area. I run an outreach program in Zion. We're bringing a number of kids in here to have a real conversation, sometimes maybe a painful conversation. I'm a little nervous. I know some of these kids don't like police. I know the backgrounds they come from. So we don't want fluff. We want honest answers so we can have a true dialogue. The Lord saved me in 2013, and He showed me after a long career of disliking being a cop, battling depression, He showed me how to flip that 180 degrees and how to use my badge for eternal cause. Big Mike, always dribbling. What's up? How you doing, brother?
Good.
Go first, man. Don't lose neither, cause I'm 3-0 so far.
I'm finna beat you.
I'm not no sucker.
I'm finna beat you.
Mike, I call him Big Mike. Mike has been always introverted. I know he doesn't like police. I know the people that he's around, and I know the tug that the streets have at him. He's kind of a mystery to me. And you could be honest, what do you think about cops?
I don't like them, to be honest.
Yeah?
I don't like them, to be honest.
You had a lot of bad experiences?
Yeah, a couple. Mistaken identities and stuff like that.
Really? So I know that Mike was recently stopped by police. He was with a friend. They thought he was somebody else that was wanted. He was detained. It turns out his friend wasn't the right person. I know that Mike feels that he was targeted and that it wasn't fair, that they did detain him for quite a while. He was very upset. What was some of your bad experiences with cops?
I remember when me and Los was coming from Cooper House. Yeah, and they thought he was Cooper, because I guess Cooper had a warrant for his arrest or something, and they stopped us.
I remember that day because I heard them running different names, and that was hard for me, man. I remember pulling up, and I could see what you were thinking, like they were trying to put something on you.
Yeah.
I was going there to protect you because I know you don't get in trouble. I know, and I know some of the stuff you've been through, and that hurt me a lot that day. And I hope that you know that that's genuine, like from here, like that's Big Mike. That's one of my kids.
Yeah.
And if you felt some sort of way, I don't blame you, because I know what it feels like to be in your shoes that day. Situations like that is the hardest part about me being a police officer. Because like I really genuinely love you guys. Like you're my MFB family. Like I would lay down my life in a heartbeat for you. And to see you with that, it's not supposed to be like that, man. I know for a fact that Mike believes he was targeted during that incident because of the color of his skin. I would love to just lay that out on the table and let's talk about it and maybe calm some of his misgivings and his resentment towards the police.
Why do like cops mistake like say if they get a description of like a black African American, like why do they think like every like black person is like basically the same?
Like they'll look and they'll just randomly go?
Yeah, basically.
It seems like that a lot, don't it?
Yeah, they do.
Some of it is just unfortunate circumstances. Like if somebody robs somebody and all the description it has is a male black and he's running, they'll always try to get out. But I always say it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yeah.
They'll get out, and the disrespectful ones that make me upset, they'll get out and just start that because I said so routine.
Yeah.
You know, that's what gets you flashback. It gets you like flack. It makes people mad, right? Because it feels like you're just being picked on.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have to, but I always say it's how you do it. I think you get a lot farther with, you ever heard that? You get a lot farther with sugar than you do with vinegar?
Yeah.
Like when you're nice and you show like a authentic that you really care and you're a compassionate dude and you don't come across as RoboCop, you get so much farther. And not enough cops do that. What do you think the best part and the worst part about cops are?
The worst part, I just feel like some cops just think they can do anything they want. Mm-hmm. Like just abuse their authority sometimes. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. And then the best part, I don't really know. You like the only, I wouldn't say only good cop, but
cops will be guarded. Like if they don't know you, it's almost like a
barrier.
Barrier, like they don't want to. They feel they don't want to be vulnerable. Do you think cops are racist? You're not gonna offend me.
Yeah.
You'll see something terrible happen on the news, like some unarmed kid will get killed.
Yeah.
But you have to take the approach of the big picture is there's probably upwards of, I've heard of 100 to 400 million police contacts in this country every day or every year, and only a few go bad like that. So you can't really like point to just one and say, oh, that's happening all the time. You gotta just look at the whole scope. Because that's like the exception to the rule when bad stuff like that happens. And not to say that it's justified. Bad stuff shouldn't happen. If a cop does something bad, he should go to jail. I think the biggest problem with race and police work is there's just not enough minorities that want to be cops. We got to change that, man.
Yeah, not a lot of people want to be cops.
I know. Let me train you, Mike. You want to be a cop with me?
Yeah, I could, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to get you a badge.
I wouldn't have no problem. Matt, why do you think you became a cop, though? Like, what made you, inspired you to become a cop?
It wasn't what people think. It wasn't something I dreamt of. It was simply filling out an ad in a newspaper. Like I always tell you guys, I didn't like cops at all. So I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But my favorite part about it is that has evolved because of what God did for me. He's shown me how to use my badge to make him famous. That's my favorite part, is breaking like, wow. Like people see me walk up to you in the neighborhood in a uniform, they'll think I'm going there to mess with you or to get your name, get your ID, you know how the cops do. Yeah. When I give you a hug and people see that, that you don't understand how powerful that is, man. And it's genuine. There's nothing phony, but I love you, man. You're one of my favorites of all time. I know Mike comes from a rough situation. I had the unfortunate incident where I had to lock his dad up about 3 years ago, and I've never talked to him about it. So it's going to be interesting to see, will he even talk about his feelings? Does he hold a beef against me? Is he upset with me? You know, one thing I've never spoken to you about, that whole thing with that was one of the hardest things I ever done. But it turned so hard when I found out that was your dad. Mm-hmm. Were you upset with me?
No.
No?
Mm-mm. Not at all.
I was, that was one, there's instances in my job where I go home and I cry like a little girl. I'm not afraid to say it. That was one of the times. And through that whole, and the thing, it went to the trial and to all that other stuff. And that was one of the hardest things I had to do, because I knew that you and Z were suffering and that's had to suck to go through. Mm-hmm. I remember a time when they're taking those the statements, the witness statements, and I heard them say your name and Z's name. During the sentencing phase. Mm-hmm. Let me try not to cry. That was the hardest, about the hardest 10 minutes of my entire career, because I just couldn't hear it like out loud. Because I wanted to jump up and say, yes, those are the best two kids I've ever met, man. Go easy, let's. I wanted to break and at the same time, I'm in there and I have to do my job. You know what I mean? I felt so helpless, but I'm glad that all can put that pretty much behind us, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had never spoken to you and how much that really bugged me, man. But you know, the lady that all happened to, I had a long talk with her. I don't think I never told anybody. She said she forgives everything, and she believes in God, and that she said forgiving and just letting it go. We had a long talk about you. She said she just wanted to let it all go and forgive, and that she lives a lot more peacefully now. So in the end, it all worked pretty good when it started so ugly.
So Matt, what made you start believing in God?
It was being at my all-time low. Like I've made it really public that I hated being a cop for so many years, just because there's a lot of reasons. But I was ready to end my life. And people think I'm crazy, and I'll say it like I always say it. He came and intervened one night in that parking lot.
Yeah, with the lady.
With the lady, yeah. She came up to my window when I was going over this plan to blow my brains out. And he made himself so real that night. It's like getting hit by a Mac 10 truck. You're never the same again. That's exactly how I felt when I met God that night. Like I've never been the same. Like the struggles are still here, but I know there's hope, you know? And I'm like, man, Lord, you gave me a second chance at this, so what else do I have to do other than to tell people about it? You ready to lose? I'm going 4-0.
Okay, we're gonna see. All right, that's.
Wow! Now get out of my gym. Love you, brother.
All right.
From the shoulders, I see no future. Landed the trail, but how can I die if I never live?